Okay, this is the Panzerkampfwagen 6, also known as the King, or not the King Tiger, but the Tiger 1 in World of Tanks. This is a Tier 7 German heavy tank. This is the first tank when I first played this game that I ground up towards, thinking it was going to be a beast, and it can be, but it wasn't as beastly as I thought it was going to be when I first got it. But I was, really bad at this game when I first started. Probably took me about 5 or 6 thousand battles before I even started to learn how to angle armor and how to play the roles that my tank should play. So, what to expect from the Tiger? Well, the armor is probably not going to save you too much as you think it will. Obviously, this is a very legendary tank from the Second World War. It was fighting Shermans and T-34s, T-34-85s, Cromwells. And it did very well against those tanks, but in this game, like the M4 Sherman, this is the Tier 5 tank. So in this game, you obviously have to have a balancing factor, which, this is a Tier 7 tank, so against a Sherman, this thing will, kill it in 2 shots. Real life, a lot of time it's one shot, because it'd kill all the crew. So probably one shot T-34s and T-34-85s in real life also. But, this is a game. It's not realistic as much. At least not in that sense. In this game, it's hit points, which you really don't have in real life, so can't expect this thing to be dominant on the battlefield because has to have a balancing factor. You're going to be going up against tanks at the same tier. Let's go to the United States. And we have the T-29, which is really good turret armor, but it's got about the same hull armor as the Tiger. Then for Russia, you got the IS and the KV-3, which also have a little bit more armor than the Tiger does, but not much. The Tiger should have no problem penetrating any of those tanks. The British have the Black Prince, which is a pretty terrible tank. So not much competition there. It's pretty easy to pin that one, as long as you don't shoot it in the turret. The French have the AMX-45, and this thing isn't the greatest either. Pretty easy to penetrate. It's got no armor whatsoever. The Czechs don't even have a Tier 7 heavy. The Japanese have the Oni. And this vehicle has pretty decent hull armor. It's a lot better than the Tiger. It's got 75 more than the Tiger. It's also got way more on the turret with 200. But again, it's easy to outmaneuver this tank, and it's heavy and slow, and it's an arty magnet. And the Chinese have the IS-2 at Tier 7. This tank has the same turret armor, same hull armor, but it is sloped, so it's technically better than the Tigers. So the Tiger really doesn't outmatch any other Tier 7 heavy tanks as far as armor is concerned. The tracks are pretty good on this thing. It can take a beating. It does have a lot of hit points with 1500, which if I remember right is actually the same as the IS-3. So you got, Tier 8 hit points, Tier 7 tank. Now, in the garage, this thing looks like a boxy slow tank, but when Artie's looking at this thing from above, it's actually pretty small considering it's a heavy tank, so Artie will have trouble hitting you sometimes. It's not an extremely quick tank. This thing's top speed is 40 kilometers an hour, which I think is about 23 miles per hour in American standard speed. On the turret of this thing, it's got 100 millimeters. It's basically the turret is the exact same as the hull as far as the armor is concerned. It's got these extra plates of armor here, and it's got a pretty good gun mantlet. I have bounced a lot of shots when I'm hold down this thing. It doesn't really pay to turn the turret as much when an enemy's aimed at you, because unless they're still aiming at your front, it's very easy for them to just hit the side. So if you turn it like this, they're just going to shoot that flat part right there. It's going to pin you every time because you only have 80 millimeters of armor there. On your hull armor is obviously really flat. You got these extra armor plates for the viewport. That machine gun turret though is a weak spot. They can't pin that easily. This part can be very trollish, I've noticed. It does have a slight angle on it, as you can see there. And you can bounce quite a few shots from tanks that just, do a quick snapshot. when you are aimed at somebody, you want to keep your tank turned about like that. So it'll bounce off that right there, and they will bounce some shots off of here. If you're coming on like a rock or something that's sloped like this, you'll keep that thing like this or something, and you can really bounce some shots off the front of that thing. Even from tier 8 or 9 tanks I've had happen to me. The gun on this thing is pretty good. You start off with with a derp gun that you can put on there. Then you have these other, I believe that's from it's from the Panther VK3002, 3601H. I took the 3601H before it was even a heavy tank to get this tank. This is also on the Tiger and all the other ones. Tiger P, I mean. The other tier 8 gun is pretty decent, but does not have the penetration that the top gun has. So you're going to have to grind through this gun to get to this one. But fortunately, if you're in a top tier game, you shouldn't have any trouble pinning tanks with 145. But okay, my game just kind of froze there for a sec as my T49 came back. This gun though is a legendary one. It's a 88mm. It's got 8.96 rounds per minute, which is very good for a tier 7 heavy tank. The penetration is great with 203. I believe that's one of the highest actually. I'd have to check the T29, but I'm pretty sure it's a pretty high penetration. You shouldn't have any trouble pinning anything tier 8 and below. Tier 9 you might struggle with some of the tanks like an E75 or something, but try to avoid going at those tanks from the front. You just gotta flank them or something. They're aim for weak spots. It's got decent damage, 240, and the dispersion is pretty good at 0.34. It's not a laser, but it's not bad either. For most heavy tanks, they got like 0.38, 0.4. That's pretty bad. Aiming time is not the greatest at 2.7. I mean, you're gonna be sitting there aiming a while, so you might want to get an enhanced gunlaying drive like I have on this thing. You're definitely gonna want to get a gun rammer and improve ventilation just to get that crew skill up and get that extra, pretty much everything on all your crews, more accuracy, faster tank, better commander. So yeah, this is a good gun. You'll see this on the Tiger P also, same thing, and on the Indian Panzer Tiger 2. I mean, this gun fits a lot of tanks. Some tanks it's the stat gun, but in this tank it's the best one. That's a pretty good tank. Crew skills. Again, I don't even know why I have camouflage on this guy, but you're definitely going to want to get like Brothers in Arms to get that reload time down. I don't have it on the final crew member, so I don't get that extra 5% yet. But you're definitely going to want like repairs on this thing and safe stowage. This thing does get ammo wrecked kind of quite often. Not as bad as some tanks, but it will get pretty bad sometimes. Especially if they hit you in like the side. Side shots will definitely ammo wreck this thing quite a bit. I believe a couple patches ago they fixed the engines on these so that you cannot set them on fire by shooting them in the front, which is kind of nice, even because that's where the transmission usually is. So that's a good feature. And yep, this thing does a pretty good, well, it's a bad turret traverse, but if you turn the tank at the same time, if someone's trying to like flank you like in a light or a medium tank, it can turn around pretty quickly. It's got a decent engine in this thing. Some of these engines are just, or the first engine you get's not that great at all. The second one definitely makes this a pretty mobile tank. I usually get repair kit, first aid kit, and a fire extinguisher, kind of your all around to cover you. I do have some APCR loaded for those tier 9 tanks. So let's take this thing into battle and see what it can do. This is only my second reviewed video, or second uploaded video onto YouTube. This is my first day actually making videos on YouTube. I'm kind of excited. The Mighty Jingles is is my favorite guy to watch on YouTube. I've probably watched every single one of his videos maybe 2-3 times. I love listening to him and laughing at all of his jokes and calling people scumbags and all that. So I'm a big fan of his. I'm just starting to do these reviews, so if you like listening to World of Tanks reviews and watch me fail epically, then please subscribe. So we're in a tier 9 match here. We got some pretty heavily armored tanks that we're going to be going up against: the Yag Tigers, T95, STI, ST1, whatever you call it. I believe, since there are plenty of mediums and lights, I'm going to take the city. Brawl like a heavy tank that I should. I'm probably going to be more of a support tank in this one though, just because I don't have the kind of armor against some of these guns. The Yag Tiger has 250 penetration, somewhere around there. The T95 is about 295, I believe, so I'm going to try to avoid those guns as much as possible. Again, this is, you can see my turret turning. It's a slow turret, but it gets the job done. It's a pretty quick tank for a heavy tank. Looks like this 54 lightweight's being kind of brave over here. And try not to get spotted because I don't want to be hit by Artie. Come on, Jeremy, watch out for the stupid rocks. Looks like this VK4502B is going to take point. That's a fun tank to play. I did sell mine, but it's fun to just drive straight at people and watch them try to pin you. I'm going to try to get a quick snapshot on this 54 lightweight, because he's not paying attention to me. Oh, looks like there's some big tanks over here. And there we go. And I set him on fire. Oh, you hit my engine. Oh, that's okay, buddy. I got you. So, one tank down. Let's help out the CDC. Now I'm going to back out of here because I do not want to go up against these guys. There's a Yag Tiger. And as you can see, he penned me no problem with that gun, as he normally will. Man, I can't. Should be pinning that guy. Oh, definitely got the back shots of these guys. Hopefully I can kill his T-32. I set him on fire again. This is very unusual. This T-32 thinks I have a long reload, but I got him. And I'm pretty much screwed here because we were completely overrun. I did bounce that STI. He was pretty close to me, so try to get a shot into this guy. Yep. Oh, my DPM was pretty good. The thing with the Tiger, you gotta keep that gun firing. You don't want to be sitting back, hiding from people. You want to keep that thing firing to get that DPM out. I probably did close to 2,000–3,000 damage in that game. I got 2 kills. I kind of went for the lightly armored tanks just because, the angles and the armor on some of those tanks is pretty high. But this team wasn't very good, so that one's definitely a loss. I am not a big fan of sticking around and watching the replays. I usually know when I'm beat. Every now and then, I'll be shocked that the team somehow pulls a win. But it doesn't happen very often. This is World of Tanks after all. So yeah, that's my just first random game of playing the Tiger. I probably could play 10–15 games and give you like a really awesome one where I got like 10 kills or something, but I just decided to do, since it was my first video, just do a tank review and see how it goes. I'm definitely inspired by the Mighty Jingles. He's like my hero as far as World of Tanks replays, even though he's not the best player in the world. He's hilarious to listen to. And if you like my videos, please subscribe and I'll be doing more. Thank you very much.